Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here today. And so we're starting this show, Fibre Love Affair with Fibre Art Studio. And for those of you who don't know, I am the person who's organizing the show, and Fibre Art Studio is the studio I belong to. It's on Granville Island, and it's a kind of like co-op studio. We have working studio and a little gallery shop area too. And so we're starting with Barbara Hiller today. She is the person who started this studio 41 years ago. Yes, Barbara? Okay, so you
There,
are on, Barbara. Yes, take away.
Okay, I'm going to, this is interesting. When I look at the screen, I have writing across my eyes. Okay, I did indeed start the studio that long ago, and I found a book of photographs. I'm going to go to share screen. Your host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Try again.
Okay, so share screen. And there we are. Share. Okay, technology. So I always know how long I've been in the studio because I got the news that I had been accepted to have a studio on the newly opening Granville Island. The same month I got the news I was pregnant. There we go. So here is the current studio, maybe 5 years ago, the way it looked. It began in the spring of 1980 because it took them a few months to get the building opened. The Netloft building is called Netloft because that is indeed where they stored the fishing nets. And when the building first opened, there were only studios on the outside because the inside still was full of these nets. I was lucky, as I say, to be chosen as one of the first artisans. Found out that the next door was Bob Kingsmill, a potter, who has also been there as long as I have. And here, from my dear first partner, Anna Hamo, is a photo of the studio when it first opened. Anna was, here we go. And this is how the studio looked in its early days when there was just me and Anna. I realized being pregnant and having a baby, I would need a studio partner immediately. I painted on fabric then. You can see there's a dress on the back post in the windows. Anna wove what's called finished transparencies. They're made entirely of linen. They hang in the window, and she had a roaring business for the 15 years she did in the studio. And that was her corner with one of my tapestries on the back wall. To get this, okay. What I did at that point, I was making a transition from doing mostly surface design to doing predominantly tapestry. Having a young baby at home, I realized I wouldn't be able to continue painting on fabric and using dyes, which could be toxic for a child. So tapestry dyes are safe. You do not chemically, cotton dyes are cellulose based and they will bond with the tissue in your lungs. So I realized I couldn't no longer paint on cotton. So here I am. The back wall of the studio was a scaffolding where I could adjust it. There were boards with nails top and bottom, and I could make the loom any size or shape that I wanted, and I could see the whole piece as I worked. I really liked that. The drawback was when you got to the top of a tall tapestry. So here I am on the table, on a chair, on a bench, getting to the very top of the tapestry, as it says, a commission for the College of Physicians and Surgeons. And my husband and Anna would stand there with their heart in their mouth saying, "Be careful, be careful." Oh. So 10 years later, I got this loom. And I'm now in my corner, an animated display for the public when they come by. I have little kids knocking on the window, adults too. There are nose prints often on the window as people peer in. This is a Shanick Loom. It's 6 foot wide, very strongly constructed. The drawback of this loom is that whereas in the old loom, the loom stayed still and I moved, here I stay still and the loom moves, so you cannot see the whole of the work as you're going. There you can see from the side, I'm sitting and weaving, and that's the piece that I'm working on, almost finished. It's nice to have pictures of work that's almost finished. In 1993, both Anna and I had aging parents who needed a lot of attention, and we had a third person join our studio, Annika Allen, who is a basket maker. I knew Annika from St. George's and knew she was looking for a studio, and it was a wonderful fit for many, many years. Here is the studio looking a little bit different because now there are 3 of us, and we opened up the wall that is right here, which brought a lot of light in. Annika's working. Then Anna decided that she needed to retire. She had 7 children, 6 of whom were back in Finland, and who had decided that at the age of 72, my current age, she should be back in Finland where they could take care of her. It was really sad. She had become my second mother. And so Kaija Rautiainen, a friend of both myself through tapestry and Anna through the Finnish connection, joined the studio and wove some of her wonderful linen tapestries that you see beside her. We all look so young and so 80s in these pictures. There we are, the farewell party for Anna. Even though she's 25 years older than me, she was just fantastic. She gave me the best advice, having raised 7 children and having been a self-employed owner of many businesses throughout. She had a lot of good things to say. And here is our current motley crew from Canada Day 2016. There were other people in between. Janet Collins was very much loved and a strong part of our studio, a weaver and dyer, and she unfortunately died of cancer. We have some of her ashes buried outside the studio because she is still a part of all of us. This is one of the lovely things, whoops, there we go. Just the fact that I've always loved the fact that when the sun comes through the right way, the sign on the window shines onto the warp threads of my loom. Okay, there's a short video here that was actually made for the Crafts Council of BC when they had a show at the Museum of Vancouver, and it seemed apropos. So if technology works, I will share this with you. Here we go.
My name is Barbara Heller, and I'm a tapestry artist. I got the spinning wheel when I was out at UBC at art school. It was made by somebody who lived on Main Island. It's really basic. There's all sorts of fancy new spinning wheels. There's electric spinning wheels for production spinners. There's all the beautiful antique spinning wheels, and mine's just a plain workhorse. I get wool everywhere. There's nothing like the texture and the color you can get from hand-dyed, hand-spun wool. I love dyeing the yarn. I don't use much commercial yarn. I dye my own colors. In my head, I have the perfect color. And the process is still magic to me after, what, 35, 40 years. I've been called a colorist, so I guess it must be very important. Color is everything to me. I don't know how to separate it out. But I also love the weaving, just the interplay, the using the hands. It becomes a meditation. Maybe that's why I want to do it every day. It's a centering. Really, a tapestry loom is, even though this loom looks fancy with turnbuckles and that, it can be very primitive. I don't like having a lot of tools. If I have bobbins instead of just using hanks of yarn, I lose things. I'd rather use my fingers for everything. looms are pretty basic. There's a lot of things you can add on, and now you have jacquard looms and computer-aided looms, and they do the weaving for you. But basically, it's a tool, and it's up to the artist how they use it. So it doesn't matter how fancy or simple it is, as long as it lets you do what you want to do. Somebody once said to me that way back when, some people were hunter-gatherers and some people were shepherds, and the shepherds have an affinity for textiles, and that you know it the minute you sit down to work with it.
Okay. So here you can see my love of color. I did a gradation of 10 shades of this gorgeous blue for a tapestry that went to an exhibit at Poland. It was, having not done commissions for almost a decade, it was a really big deal to weave something 4 feet by 8 feet. And there is the finished tapestry. I'm happy to talk about its significance if people are interested. They can contact me as well. There's a detail. It's Simsum Transcendence, just to be really brief, because I don't want to go over my time limit, talks about how in order to create our physical universe, God had to withdraw part of himself to make room for material culture, for animals and people. And he took all these, that was Simsum, it means withdrawal, contraction, and then transcendence. And it's about our journey through life from the bottom to the top, with reminiscences of Jacob's ladder. Dead birds have been a personal icon of mine for decades. They represent unnecessary death. This is one of the pieces I did last year. My husband died a year ago, and the following spring I wove this for him. One more dead bird, one more senseless death. So sometimes you just need to weave beauty. And actually Roz owns this tapestry. It's one of my very favorites, from a red poppy in the garden in my house. During the time when the studio was closed, I also had a small loom set up at home, and these are 2 fin and mounted tapestries in a current series. They're called Right Wing and Left Wing, and they're from a series that deals with the Black Lives Matter and all the current unrest. We're calling We're All the Same Under the Skin, or maybe Under the Feathers. And then when the dark days of winter hit, I just needed to do something happy. So this is the latest piece, just cut off the loom, but here is one of the drawings it was based on. You can see my 6-year-old daughter, Leah, granddaughter, drew this. And there is a second card that she made for me. I really did think, because of long ears, they were rabbits, but she said, "Can't you see the long tails? They're cats playing." And these were combined to make this image, which is hanging on the loom side. This is the sideways version. Sometimes for technical reasons, you weave something sideways. And I had so many people come into the studio and say, "Thank you for weaving something happy." So I'm going to put it over to Eureka for the next studio member. And I'm always happy to answer any questions if you come by the studio. So unshare. There we go. Okay, Eureka.
Okay, is there any question for Barbara? Okay, Barbara, there's another Barbara.
Your work is beautiful, Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nobody else, we move on to the next person. Was it? Is it Rose or Helen next? I can't remember.
Makes no difference.
Okay, let's go with you, Rose.
Okay, I'm here.
Here we go.
Okay. Oops, there we go. Oops, we're getting closer. All right. I'm down at my friend's shop, Great Yarns, and so that's why you're seeing Fontel Jones at the bottom of the screen. And I'm actually Roz Winters. I've been with the studio probably over 10 years at this point. And, you know, I got into knitting because my Aunt Marceline insisted that I learn the skill. So I did, and then my mother helped me, and I made several great knitted knots that she carefully undid. But, you know, I've always been kind of a challenging child, according to my parents. When I was growing up, I had a nickname, and it was the Little Blue-Eyed Pet. And I always loved that because my aunts and my uncles called me the Little Blue-Eyed Pet. When we got together at the lake house in my late 20s, early 30s, we were sharing memories, and they said, so what about growing up and coming up to the lake here do you remember the most? And I said, you know, the fact that you guys always called me your Little Blue-Eyed Pet. And there was this dead silence. And my aunt spoke up and said, dear, it was Little Blue-Eyed Pest, not pet. So I have decided that through my life, I've always heard what I want to hear and do what I want to do, with respect to others, of course. So we agreed that I could still be, in my mind, Little Blue-Eyed Pet, and in their mind, that could be Little Blue-Eyed Pest. So with that, I have moved forward and unabashedly continue to create things. And since the pandemic started in March, I have knit close to 40 hats. So I have knit hats that have fun things on them. And I've knit more hats. And did I mention I've knit hats? I also have taken on a series called Stray Cat Hats. And what it is these little guys are knit with leftover yarn. And when I sell them at the studio, 100% of the money goes to the Humane Society. So I have stray cat hats, stray cat cowls, and stray dog scarves. And they're all knit with leftover yarn. They have a very funky quality about them, but people tend to love them. In fact, I've had people go, here's another $10. Please give it to the Humane Society as well. So it's important to be supportive of that. And did I mention I knit hats? Anyway, meanwhile, back at the farm. So in addition to that, I've been dyeing some yarn, and some of the yarn I've been dyeing, as I've gotten older, I've decided that my hands deserve something nice. So I've been working in a lot of different cashmere, 100% cashmere. And with that, I was working on a project because, you know, I decided that, if you're going to dye this, it needs to have a specialty because it's kind of a one-off yarn. It's what's left of a series that my friend Fontel has offered to share with me. And so I have knit what I refer to as a hat cowl. So what it is you can put this critter on. Pull the draw cord, and it's a hat. Now you're out walking or you're menopausal and you have a hot flash. So you go, okay, I have got to dump this puppy. So I can turn it into a cowl. So because it is a hat and a cowl, I call it a howl. So with that, I'm going to hang in front of you. This is the dangling conversation. That I've made kits with these, with the cashmere and the, and I actually wrote a pattern and I've had friends verify it. My workmates will be shocked by that this will be available. I'm going to show the final product and the final dyes next Sunday when Fontel at Great Yarns does her presentation, and they'll be on the internet that following Monday for sale. The kits are 100% cashmere. It's a chunky cashmere. There's 2 balls of it. And the pattern and the yarn is $45 US, as well as adding shipping, which is $12 to get it to Canada, which is a whole lot cheaper than it was before Christmas by about 50%. So with that said, I will dangle in front of you some of the color combinations that I have done for the howl to give you an idea And to make sure you come back next Sunday when my friend Fontel is presenting. She's been my wonderful step-in friend while I can't get across the border to Canada. So that's pretty much it.
Reminder us that it's half price. So
Yeah, the true is,
the regular price is 85.
yeah. The regular price of this limited cashmere yarn would be $85. But because we're on a closeout and I've done a specialty dye job, we are letting it go for $45 plus shipping as a special thank you to Eureka and all the people who are attending the Fiber Art Show in order to say thank you for the support. Any questions? ¿Tiene preguntas?
Rose,
Yeah.
somebody's asking what's your website and how to order hat.
Okay, it'll be on Fontel's website, which I'm going to post next Sunday during Fontel's Great Yarns presentation. Does that help?
Okay, so they have to go to Fontel's presentation.
Yeah, greatyarns.com. But it'll be the following Monday after the closing Sunday next weekend.
Sounds good.
Is the Howl reversible?
Yes, it can be reversible. That's a good question. The Howl is reversible. And this is what the reverse side looks like. It's a corrugated knit. And so you can wear it either direction. This one is another one. Of course, I was aghast to learn that there was more color than blues and purples. Penny informed me that there's oranges and greens, and I was like, wow. So this is the reverse side of this Howl. And this is the right side of, or the other side, I should say, of it as well.
Is the pattern available alone?
No, it's just part of a kit at this point. We may reconsider down the road.
How many color combos do you have?
At this point, it's a limited edition. It's 7 color combos, and they're one off of each. And if they all sell, then I will reconsider and, you know, put out another market on them with a different colorway. This is more of a trial and a thank you at this point, but it doesn't necessarily have to end there. It's like a phase 1. Did that answer your question? Okay. Just trying to think if there's anything else.
Okay, Rose, Rebecca's asking how many grams in the kit, ounces?
How many ounces in the kit?
Yeah.
Each tank is 3.8 ounces. I weighed it this morning. So about 7 ounces, 7 to 8 ounces.
Okay, and
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy to knit. If I can follow the pattern on it, believe me, it's 4 rows of one color, 4 rows of another color, and you're either knitting or purling. And there's a yarn over, of course, for the hole for the top of the hat. And it's a diagonal too, because when you knit it, it actually, you're increasing and decreasing. So the finished product becomes a diagonal. And I managed not to bring that one to me. Let me see if I got it here. Nope. I have brought one I thought that had the actual diagonal piece on it. So as you knit it, it's going like this. So it starts off with casting on a provisional cast on, thank you. And then you at the end can Kitchener it together. If you know how to do the Turkish toe sock opening, then you've already done your Kitchener stitch. So that's another option. And remember, you promised yourself that in 2021, you were going to learn the Kitchener stitch. And this is a good time to apply it. Yeah, it's just knit and purl diagonally. It's really a lot of fun. I was blown away. I initially saw part of this pattern online and went, oh, we could take this farther. And so I've given it a reinvention.
okay, so I think we got to move on, but
Okay.
I think I will share one picture from studio.
Yeah. Oh, there's the hat
Yes.
collection.
Yeah, like Rhodes, like we got about 30. How many did you send? About
I
20?
sent 12 up,
12
and
up.
I've knit over almost close to 40 since March, plus scarves and capelets and other things.
Okay, so this is kind of internal joke. Like Rose's hats are so popular at our studio, and like as soon as she brings some, they just go, just fly away. So I constantly texting Rose, Rose, we need more hats.
More hats.
More hats, more hats. So like this is very rare. Like we have like such a good collection of Rose's hat at the studio. So if you are close by, come and look at them. It's just so much fun just to look at them. So that's one shot from studio. Okay, let's move on to Helen. All right, where is Helen? Okay, found you, Helen.
Hello.
Okay, come in.
Okay. Hi. Hello. I'm Елена Glaskova, but Helen it's easier, so I'm Helen, and I'm the newest member of the studio. I'm at the studio. I was surprised. 7 years already. Okay, and I am a felter. I hope you know what is felting. This is not knitting, not weaving. I'm too lazy to do that. I can do some, but I'm too lazy. So I work this just this wool. First, I would like to show you, this is my material, like main material. This is the wool. And I'm really happy to get it from Yoriko. She is amazing about colors, dyeing, etc. So this is wool roving, and how it works. I just need to pull some of this wool like this. After that, I need to put it on the table and make my design. It's different layers, but I don't want to talk a lot about layers, etc. right now. But what is good, you're absolutely, it's amazing material and amazing technique, because it looks like painting, and it works let's say, microscopic view of this wool. It's pretty similar to your hair. It has a little barbs like pine cones. And then I make my layers. Actually, I wet them with some soap, and I start to work with my hands like this. And after that, like barbs are open and they stick to each other. So eventually I got something like this piece, and like during the process you need to roll it many times like this, so it gives you a good exercise actually. And after that it's really hard to destroy. You can make hats, you can make scarves, you can make home decoration. Little bit later, I will show you my products, my old picture, current products. And what is also good, you can cut it into the pieces. And let's say, when it's not completely done, you can actually work this also. Let's say I have some pre-felted pieces that I cut, and I can put them on the top of this and work again with my hands and rolling, etc. And they could stick together. So you can make some kind of designs. So this is one of them. Like, you see, made out of those pieces and some pre-felted stuff. So what is also good, and I can show you, let's say, another piece. I made. This is just a little scarf. And usually if I make scarf, I would like to put some little pins. Again, you can cut your felt and you can create whatever you want. Also, what is really good, the wool, if you can use some base. So your wool can go through some fabrics. This is one of my scarves and it's made on, the base is hand woven silk. You see those holes, it's very, very light, but it's quite strong. So I just put my wool on the top and again work with my hands. So wool fibers can go through this silk and you can get something like this. And I would like to show you another piece. This is different type of silk. Again, thanks Yoriko, it was made this Yoriko's roving. You can see beautiful colors. I just would like to show you the colors. And again, what is fun for me, you can, maybe you can see it better. Wool, this is the only material you can felt. Then you felt it, it shrinks. This is kind of like problem because you cannot really predict the size, but it could give you very, very nice texture. I will try to show you right now. Okay, come on. Okay, you see, when wool felts, it shrinks, but silk doesn't shrink. So you can have these little bumps or whatever, which I really like. So that generally, this is technique. I can talk a lot about that, but I don't think we have a lot of time. And I would like to share screen and show you some my old works. Yorika, could you please? Okay, I can. Okay, I will try. Okay. Okay. So just a second, I need to. I need to select pictures. It will be 1 minute. Okay. So again, this is piece like little bit like 3-dimensional. This is necklace, let's say, and I love to use some natural beads. So this is corals, and you cannot see, but one of them this works as a button, so you can open it, you can wear it, and it's what I love. Again, it's 3-dimensional, so you can make sculptures. And I made some wall decoration, and I made some light shadows for my friend Mirage, who is blacksmith on Granville Island. It was really fun, and it was very challenging. So this is one of the scarf on Yoriko's loom. Okay, it doesn't have any base. It's just wool. It's 100% wool. This piece, this is again like shawl, and this orange stuff, this is pieces of silk. I can enlarge it. So I was talking about this bumpy structure. So what I love about this technique, you can play these colors, you can play this texture. You don't need to follow any rules. And before it's done, you can move pieces if you are not happy. And another piece, again, Robin was from the studio, and I love the colors. Sometimes when I have a customers, I wish they would buy something because I gonna buy it to make something. I'm so impressed about colors. Sometimes this is another piece based on seal, and on the bottom you can see the head. Again, it was cutted pieces you can attach. This is a scarf quite similar to one with red flowers. This
You
is
have 1 minute left.
okay. I will finish right now. And this is a shawl, like based on silk, big one. I call it big white, and the head. And this is funny one. It was few years ago. I was really playing with colors, you know, textures, etc. And again, what is cool about that technique, this felting, you can incorporate whatever you want. If you see this golden fish, the body of the fish is made out of silk cocoon, natural one. Okay, just a sec. This is another head. This one is one of my first pieces. I love it. This is another set, like hat and scarf. And again, about three-dimensional stuff.
They're so cool.
I was playing to make like flowers. This is necklace. So this is just some, you know, okay, have no time to explain it. Again, you can use some different techniques. This is kind of like shibari. It was white one, and I made it. And after that, I tried to dye it and get these shibari effects. And this is one of my favorite hats. It has a story. It's for wedding. And the funny story was the lady lost the hat week before wedding. And she came to the studio and asked me to make another one. And it was challenging, but I was happy to make it. And again, I really love to incorporate some knitted pieces to my felting. And this is just another shawl. And also I really love to use as a models my customers. So all of those beautiful ladies, they are my customers actually. And I really love it because even if they just try that, I can see they are happy. And this
Okay,
is...
Helen, sorry, I have
So-
to ask you
so
to
I
stop
stopped
because
playing.
we ran
Thank
out
you
of
very
time.
much. Thank you. Okay, so I'm stopped.
Sorry, everybody,
Thank-
I just posted Helen's Instagram in the chat and she has more beautiful pictures, so please go and look at them.
Mhm. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Mhm.
Okay, Penny, you're up next. You have to unmute yourself, Penny.
What a good idea. Okay, so I'm Penny and I'm also a member of the Fibre Art Studio. I was so hoping when Barbara was going through the history of things this morning that she would have remembered when I joined the studio, because honestly, I can't. But I know that I've been associated with it for at least 20 years. I started by just filling in when people went away during the summer, and I was working at the time, and and it wasn't really until I retired that I was able to really kind of step up and become a full participating member of the studio. But for a lot of years, I just did spend some time in the studio in the summer, and then I would come back and do like one Saturday a month for a bunch of years. And so it's really been exciting over the last few years for me to be able to be fully part of the studio. So my background is in the health sciences. I am a scientist, and that has, in a way, I guess, inspired my interest in my work. And I am first and foremost a weaver. I love math and I love color, so weaving is kind of a natural for me. And I'm now going to share my screen and just go through a few things, largely about weaving, but some yarn as well. So hopefully this is going to work.
Spending money.
Okay, can everybody see it? Yes, no? Am I up?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So you've seen pictures of the Fibre Art Studio. I just thought that I would quickly show you my studio at home. I'm so lucky to live on the Sunshine Coast and have this lovely space above the garage where I can do my work. And this is the weaving part of things. There we go. So, and this is an area outside that I've been allowed to have to set up my dye pots and hanging hooks and things so that in the summer months, I'm able to use the space to do some dyeing at home. So I'm going to move on to weaving. And I said that my interest really is in math and in color. So this is something that's on my loom right now, and it's definitely the math part. It's an 8-shaft waffle weave, and it's going to be a bath towel. And so that's a work in progress. And it's plain white, which is kind of rare for me because most of my work is not that. And in over quite a lot of years now, my most favorite thing really is to do these combinations of yarns. And so stash for me is kind of everything, or it's a huge base. I get my stash, it's my own leftovers. I look forward to going through other weavers' estate sales to see what I can pick up. I frequent thrift stores a lot, and so I'm grabbing yarn from all over the place. And the nice thing about weaving is that if you have a piece of yarn that's as long as the piece, you can use it. And you can see here on my loom, this is a shawl that I'm making, and looking at the warp, you can see all of the different colors and textures that I put in there. And one of the things that I really like to do is I like to try to have lots of color in the piece, yet still be able to say at the end of the day that it sort of is a color, and I can call it, in this case, the emerald green shawl. And here are the 2 shawls that came off that actual warp. So the emerald green one is on the left. And then for the second one on that warp, I did use a turquoise thread. So those are the 2 side by side. And they really are quite different, but it's the same threads to start with. Those are some close-ups of the same shawls. And this is a very close-up just of the weave structure. I know that a lot of knitters are going over to the dark side and are picking up rigid heddle looms and starting to use those for portable projects. And this approach, I think, is one that would have quite a lot of appeal because you can use up so many of the lovely yarns that are in your collection. And this really shows close up how that actually looks. And here it is in the knitted form. This is actually one of Barbara's scarves where she has knitted long ways instead of side to side. And she's used, just as you can see in the fringes, she too is gathering together all kinds of yarn from her stash and holding them together actually in bunches to be able to do that. So there's just so much scope for being able to do that kind of thing. And here are just a series of the shawls that I have done probably in the last year. And I'll just show you, there's 2 off each of the warps. So this one and this one are a pair. And then this one and this one. The blue ones. And this is the one that I actually have around my shoulders this morning. And then I have a white one as well. It's the only one off that warp. But again, just looking at the close-up there, even in white, you can put other colors in. There's gray in there, there's silver gray in there, and we all know that white is not white. So there's a good mix of color there as well. Mohair, as you may have noticed, is a big base for the work that I do. And this is my undyed mohair stash at home. I love mohair. It's just so useful. And here are some of the ones that we have when they've been dyed. So on the far right, you can see the brushed mohair. And then there are 4 skeins there of what we call our big kid, which is our bigger boucle. And then the second from the left is affectionately known as bébé. And mohair is gorgeous and it takes the dye so beautifully. And it certainly is what makes my work hang together. So I have used quite a lot of that over the years. This is a piece that's also on my loom at home now. And this one is straight up bébé for the people who may be interested in just using it for weaving. And I've used 5 different skeins of variegated yarns across that particular warp, and then interspersed, done the transitions with some solids, and that's fun to do as well. And this time I'm weaving this first one off with gray, and my plan is that I will use a kind of tealy color for the second warp to pick up that middle piece of color there. So those are the kinds of things that I really do love to weave. Just another shot of the work in progress that shows the warp a little bit better. And then I also have done some yarn dyeing, and since our last show, I have a couple of new things. This is one of them, and it's Camel and Silk 50-50. And I love this yarn. As you can see, it takes the colors really well. And I'll just quickly run through those. I call this one Camel, and it is with the camel base, but it is also very slightly variegated. So I'm still calling that color Camel. And then I did a twist and put it back in the dye bath into a darker brown. And this has given me the color that I am calling Dromedary. And then here they are side by side, just so that you can see the subtle difference between them. And then I kind of went down the path of what is the logical color to put on top of that natural camel. And so I went with gold first, and that one I call Desert Sun. And I have 3 colors of Sunset. This is Sunset 1, which is more orange. Sunset 2, which is more of a pinky color. And then Sunset 3, which is definitely the red of Sunset. And then after that, I thought, okay, what will happen if I go with colors that are really quite different from Camel? So I tried the purple, and I love that. I do. And I call it Mirage. I was sticking with the desert theme there. And then the last one so far that I've done is, I call this one Oasis because of the greens. So I'm pretty pleased with the camels. I'm going to get some more in that weight, but I've got a finer weight that's coming up next. And I'll be trying blue. I'm really curious to know what that will do. So we'll see what happens. I mentioned at the beginning that my background is in the health sciences, and I've been interested in images from that world for quite a long time. This is an old one, actually, back quite a long time ago, because in recent years, most of my work has been in public health. But this is a microscope slide of striated heart muscle, and those images have given me inspirations over quite a lot of time. And this one is with a light microscope. It's a stained slide, but now we have far more interesting images in the world of microbiology. So this one from an electron microscope is actually the SARS virus, and that's been studied for quite a long time. This is an accurate reconstruction from a structural point of view. The colors on those slides that are done with an electron microscope are always artists' renditions, because there is not color when you look at slides that way. But it is so interesting to see what artists do with that. And so that is a color inspiration from the SARS virus.
Renee, you have 1 minute left.
Thank you. Okay, so this is, these are other images. This one is in fact the coronavirus, and it's the color that we most often see when we see those images of coronavirus. And this one, interestingly, is the image that the Vancouver Health Authority has chosen to use for their coronavirus artistic impression. And this one, the Fraser Health Authority. So there's lots of inspiration out there. And I decided that I would do a coronavirus series, and here it is. I was going to start with the 1 second from the left, but it just didn't which is the one that I call Hello Virus. This is a slub yarn. It's 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. But in the lineup, it seemed better to start with the this one, which I'm calling Home Baking. This one is Hello Virus. This one is Stay the Blazes at Home. That's a nod to the Atlantic provinces. This one's Speaking Moistly, which is a nod to the words out of the mouth of our Prime Minister, for those who may have missed that one. This is Mask Madness. This one is Vaccine Yes. This one is Isolation Blues, In My Bubble, and finally, Lonely in Lockdown. So that's the end of my newest series, and those are up on Etsy, and I hope I'm still within time, Yuriko, so I will stop sharing my screen. And if there are questions, I don't know if there's time for that, maybe not.
Okay, Penny, somebody asking if you're on Instagram, and I just responded like you're not really posting anything.
I'm not, it's true. And my resolution for this year is to get started on that, though. I know I must. You've taken me pretty far down the path, Yuriko, and I'll do it. You guys, I will.
Okay, and like when she actually start posting, I will post a link to our studio Instagram account, which is fiber.art.studio. Oops. So that's our studio account. So you can kind of follow along with us. Okay, thank you so much for Penny for your presentation.
Thank you.
Right. Spotlight. So I will go ahead and start my presentation. There we go. And if I can do the screen share. There we go. So just give me a second. How come it's not responding? Okay, I have to start like this. So anyways, that's us, Fiber Art Studio on Granville Island, and I'm so glad we could appear as a group this time. So let me talk about myself. My name is Yoriko Oki. If you like to follow along with me, my Instagram account is at yoriko.oki. The website www.fiberartstudio.ca is going to our Etsy shop, which is mostly my yarn. Penny and Rose have a bit of yarn as well. So if you're interested in our yarn, go to the website fiberartstudio.ca. And this is my first ever project when I completed, probably I was 5 or 6. It was a crochet scarf. It is a crochet scarf. I still have it. This scarf has a lot of memories of my grandma because I made most of it sitting right next to my grandma, sitting at their shop. Like my grandparents had little corner shop after my grandpa retired from a newspaper company. They opened a little corner shop, and I used to sit there when we had I had break from school. So it has a lot of sweet memory to it. It's far away from perfect, but because I was so small, I got lots of compliments from people, which gave me a little bit confident because I was very shy person when I was small. Like I couldn't really like go out and talk to people. So quite often something I made was the conversation starter. So if you have small grandchildren or children, it's never too early. Let's get them started. Okay. I really like working with my hands and fiber since I was small. I did start knitting right after this. I did embroidery. So according to my mom, I was a really good kid. Like give me crochet hook and a little bit yarn, and I'd be just making something and listening baseball games on radio. She could have just left me alone all night. So that was my childhood. And then fast forward, the first career I chose was I was trained and worked as architect in Tokyo, Japan. I'm still licensed architect in Japan. Then I hit the glass ceiling very, very early. Like within 1 year, it was clear that I was not given equal opportunity, and I felt like I was stuck already. So big move. I came to Canada to study, and I earned a master's degree in architecture at UBC. But after I graduated, I finished my master's. I couldn't find any job. The economy was pretty bad when it happened. Also, nobody wanted architect who couldn't really speak decent English. That's another thing. So I did various things. I worked as a freelance translator for a long time. Then I went to fashion design school in Vancouver and graduated with Best Overall Achievement Award. So then I joined the studio in 2005. But at that point, it was not really my very serious hobby in a way. Like I never thought like I could make living by doing that. Mostly because nobody said I could, I think, looking back from now. And everybody's consensus was, Yoriko, no way you can make living with this. So I never really believed that I could. But 6 years ago, my husband got really, really sick. And he almost died that day. And it made me really think about what my life is. Yeah, he was going to the operation room and he didn't think he'll make it out alive. And the last thing before going to the operation room, what he said was, well, Yoriko, I had a good life. Thinking about me, I didn't think I could say that to myself. So at that point, it's just something snapped and like, I was not very happy being a translator. So I just decided this is not the way I want to remember my life when I am ready to go. So since then, I'm trying to make myself more happy and started as a fiber artist and then indie dyer, more seriously as a business, and I've been building up since then. And this is what I make. So probably you know that sweater. It's a love note sweater by Tinkernet, and it's all hand dyed myself. But I am a weaver myself more than anything else. I like to think. And I love combining hand dyeing yarn or like hand dyeing technique with my weaving. And when I started weaving in 2000, there was no online shop. So what we had to do is we mail order the yarn and dye them ourselves because they're mostly available in white. So I dyed the yarn to bring more colors into my weaving. And customers started asking, like, do you sell this yarn? And say, yeah, I do. And that's how I started as an indie dyer. And I sell yarn more than anything right now. So last year, about this time, I was in New York. It's kind of unreal if when I think about it now. But I've been involved with Vogue Knitting Live Launchpad program. It's their small business startup program. And I met this beautiful, amazing group of people. We got really bonded. These are all participants. And some of them are in our show this time too. Like Susan is, I think she's right after our show. And then it's not in this picture, but Rebecca of Wild West Dye was in the program, and also the Hand Gorgeous Doll, Adrian. She was in the program too. So I met lots of people out of this group. And then the Vogue Meeting Live asked me a few months ago, like, do you teach hand dyeing? And I said, yes. So I started teaching at BKL last month, and I'm offering them again. And also I be teaching at Knit City as well. So I'll be teaching 3 classes. Number 1, Dyeing Ouyang 101. So if you're interested in how to dye, come and join me. And the second class is Precision Dyeing, which is if you like to achieve certain colors and learn how to mix colors and repeat that result, this is the class for you. And then if you're not particularly interested in dyeing, I also teaching color theory class. It's more like color theory and practice, because the theory itself doesn't, how do you say it? It's hard to understand how to use the theory itself. Like you could learn about theory, but you may should not know how to use it. So I like to kind of dissect it and tell you how to use it. So I'm actually over time already. So I like to show just one more thing. This is this is my hand dyed yarn, and I like to show I like to design colors in collection. And this is one of my popular collections called Galaxy Collection. And I design a collection so that you can just mix and match everything. So this is Find Your Fate Show by Andrea Mori. I made using the Galaxy Collection. And I said I'm a weaver, so when I dye yarn, I feel like I have to weave with them. So this is 3 shawls I made using the Galaxy Collection. So anyways, I'm out of time, so I stop here. Let me stop share. Thank you so much coming. I hope you enjoyed our show. And I said if you receive my email, I said you can stay here, but somebody requested okay, let me answer questions. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nancy. How can I find your courses? Okay, you could go to vogueknittinglive.com, and the registration's open. My next class is happening next weekend, and the Knit City is going to release their teaching table, I think the end of this month. I think they have like only probably 1 week window to register, so you have to be on Knit City newsletter. I think that's the best way to go. Yes. And Barbara asked, what's your bingo words? Yes, of course. Our bingo word is mohair. And I thought like I asked Penny to say it, but I forgot. Sorry, it's mohair. So if mohair. So if there's no other questions, I will finish. Okay, thank you, Karen, for coming. And in the email, I said you can stay as long as you want, but somebody's requested for closed captions. And I look it up on internet, and looks like we have to log off to be able to turn it on. So I will end the meeting here. Please come back in 5 minutes or so. Okay, I try 5 minutes, and if it doesn't work, I have to give up. I'm so sorry. Okay, so thank you for coming, and I see you in a few minutes. Okay, bye.